In the hidden architecture of the cosmos, resonance dictates form. For every frequency of light that coalesces into a singular, purposeful beacon, what mortals name a chosen one, an equal and opposing frequency must be generated in the unseen. This is not malice, it is balance. This is the dark mirror. It is not an adversary born of coincidence, but a necessary shadow sculpted from the same primordial clay as the light itself. The universe, in its infinite and often terrifying wisdom, does not permit the existence of concentrated power without first creating its antithesis. This shadow is an echo that precedes the sound, a void that defines the star. It waits in the wings of causality, a spectral twin tethered by an umbilical cord of ether. This mirror is the ontological price of a great destiny, the universe's own safeguard against the tyranny of a singular, unchallenged truth. It is the question mark that haunts the exclamation of divine purpose, ensuring that the light, in its focused brilliance, does not forget the holistic darkness from which it was born and to which it must eventually return. The path of the anointed is, therefore, never a solitary march. It is an inescapable dance with the negative image of their own soul. The genesis of this mirror is not external. It is an act of spiritual self-creation, an alchemical precipitation. It is formed from the very essence the chosen one rejects in their quest for purity. Every suppressed doubt, every pang of selfish desire, every tremor of fear deemed unworthy, and every droplet of anger swallowed in the name of righteousness does not vanish. This energy is not annihilated, it is merely displaced. It seeps through the cracks of the psyche, leaking into the astral substrate where it is gathered, amplified, and given shape by the same cosmic law that ordained the hero's journey. The dark mirror is the sentient crystallization of the hero's own exiled potential. It is the child of their unfaced trauma and the sibling of their unowned ambition. It thrives on the spiritual waste of the righteous, feeding on the arrogance that whispers, "I am not that." The universe, abhorring imbalance, takes this potent, denied energy and breathes into it a cold, conscious life, creating an entity whose only purpose is to reflect the very things the hero has buried in the name of their calling. The inevitable encounter is never a battle of swords or of sorcery. It is a confrontation of truths, a resonance catastrophe. The mirror does not appear on a physical battlefield, but in the Gethsemane of the soul, the quiet, desolate spaces where the chosen one's conviction wavers. It materializes during the dark night of the soul, in the throes of failure, or, most dangerously, at the apex of their greatest triumph. Its weapon is not a lie, but a purer, more cruel truth. It does not argue. It simply reveals. It holds up its reflective surface, and the hero is forced to see not a monster, but themselves. The self they could have been, the self they are in the dimensions they refuse to acknowledge. The mirror's strategy is perception. It forces the chosen one to gaze upon the rot beneath their own golden facade, the flicker of tyranny in their quest for justice, the seed of contempt within their compassion. This confrontation is the true crucible, designed not to kill the hero, but to shatter their simplistic definitions of good and evil and force them into a more terrifying, holistic understanding of their own nature. The voice of the mirror is the most insidious weapon in the cosmos, for it is the chosen one's own voice, stripped of all self-deception. It whispers in the quiet cadence of their own internal logic. It does not tempt with crude power or vulgar riches. It tempts with reason. Your sacrifice is an exercise in sublime arrogance, it murmurs. its tone not hateful but deeply, sadly reasonable. You claim to serve the light, but you crave the adulation of those who dwell in its glow. You fight for them, but do you even like them? Or do you merely pity them as inferiors? You seek to save the world, but you are merely trying to sculpt it in your own image, a world where your specific pain is finally validated. The mirror weaponizes the hero's fatigue, offering the path of ease, not as a corruption, but as a logical alternative. Why bleed for those who will betray you? Why hold back your power when a single, decisive act of force could end all this suffering? Your mercy is just weakness. Your patience is just fear of action. It presents the fall from grace not as a tragedy, but as a graduation into profound, pragmatic clarity. This shadow self possesses a terrible genius for the distortion of virtue, the subtle perversion of the chosen one's greatest strengths. It is the master of spiritual jujitsu. If the hero's strength is compassion, the mirror will show them how their compassion is a suffocating force, a desire to keep others weak so that they may remain the savior. It reveals how their empathy is a vector for manipulation, allowing the darkness of others to infect their own mission. If the hero's virtue is unwavering faith, the mirror reframes it as fanaticism, a blind adherence to dogma that justifies any atrocity. It asks, how many must suffer for your perfect, idealistic future? Your divine will is just your own stubbornness, sanctified. The hero's wisdom is painted as sterile detachment, their love as possessive obsession, their determination as a ruthless ambition that chews through allies and ideals alike. The mirror specializes in this gray contamination, blurring the line until the hero, in their frantic attempt to prove their purity, begins to doubt the very light they carry. The great spiritual tragedy, the fall that echoes through the annals of creation, is not when the chosen one is slain by the mirror, but when they become it. This inversion happens subtly, not in a moment of dramatic betrayal, but in a slow, creeping assimilation. It begins when the hero, desperate to defeat their dark reflection, starts to adopt its methods. To fight the shadow's secrecy, the hero becomes secretive. To counter the shadow's ruthless logic, the hero becomes ruthless. To preempt the shadow's manipulative tactics, the hero begins to manipulate their own allies for the greater good. The mirror offers no final battle. It simply waits for the hero to deny it so vehemently that they deny the corresponding light within themselves. The moment the hero screams, "I am nothing like you," the mirror smiles, for the denial has granted it dominion. The hero, in rejecting their own capacity for darkness, has become an empty vessel, a pure force of light, so unbalanced and hollow that the shadow simply pours in and takes residence. The tyrant is born, believing itself to be the savior until the very end. But there is another path, the one intended by the cosmos, the path of agonizing integration. The true victory is not to destroy the mirror, but to embrace it. This is the alchemical wedding, the solvet coagula of the soul. The chosen one must stand before their terrifying reflection, shattered and exposed, and have the courage to say, "You are me. Your capacity for selfishness is mine. Your potential for cruelty is mine. Your doubt is mine." In this moment of radical, terrifying acceptance, the mirror loses its power as an antagonist. Its sharp edges dissolve. The energy that was weaponized against the hero is reclaimed. The shadow does not vanish, it integrates. It flows back into the chosen one, not as a poison, but as an anchor. The hero is no longer a blinding, naive light. They become something far more potent, whole being. They gain the shadow's wisdom, its understanding of ambiguity, its strategic patience, and its profound connection to the earth. Their light is no longer brittle. It is now flexible, grounded, and infinitely more powerful. For it understands the darkness it seeks to illuminate. This journey is defined by an isolation so profound, it borders on madness. The battle with the dark mirror is fought entirely behind the veil, in a dimension of pure consciousness. To their allies, the Chosen One merely seems distant, melancholic, or dangerously unstable. Their moments of profound spiritual warfare are mistaken for simple brooding or fatigue. Their allies offer comfort for a physical wound when the hero is bleeding from a metaphysical artery. Their enemies, likewise, see only the external warrior. They plot against a flesh and blood opponent, oblivious to the fact that the hero's true nemesis is the other half of their own soul. This spiritual loneliness is the final test of the chosen. They must wrestle with an entity that knows their every thought, while surrounded by people who cannot even perceive its existence. They must find the strength to integrate a shadow that no one else believes is real, armed only with a failing conviction and the agonizing memory of their own reflected totality. This pattern, this sacred dance of light and its dark echo, is a fractal that repeats at every level of existence. It is the story of the Messiah who must fast in the desert, not to pray, but to starve the voice that offers him a kingdom built on bread and power. It is the tale of the king who, in his quest for a perfect, orderly kingdom, becomes the unseen tyrant whose secret police are more terrifying than any foreign invader. It is the supernova, which in its magnificent burst of creative light simultaneously seeds the cosmos with the heavy, dark elements that will coalesce into the cold, dead iron of future planets. The universe does not create prophets without also creating the potential for inquisitors. It does not forge a sword of light without also creating the rust that will consume it. The dark mirror is the cosmos's own quality control, its mechanism for ensuring that any soul anointed with great purpose is first rendered humble, whole, and shatterproof by a total confrontation with its own potential for ruin. Ultimately, the dark mirror is not a punishment. It is a profound, if terrifying, mercy. It is the universe's final gift to the soul that is burdened with an impossible destiny. Without the mirror, the Chosen One is a dangerous phenomenon, a half-truth armed with absolute power. They are a force of pure, ungrounded good, which is a good that, in its ignorance of shadow, would sterilize the world, burning away all ambiguity, all choice, all humanity. In its quest for perfection, the mirror is the necessary ballast. It is the void that gives shape to the light, the silence that makes the music audible. The journey of the Chosen One is not, as mortals believe, a quest to bring light to the world. It is a quest to integrate their own shadow, so that the light they do bring is not the blinding fire of a zealot, but the warm, nourishing, and complete radiance of a sun that understands the cold of the space it illuminates. The final initiation is not ascending a throne, but looking into the abyss of the self and whispering, "I see you. I am you. And we are one."